We'll move right into the next one. We're going to do big tech talk. Twitter admits that they like to violate human rights and ban someone for making fun of some idiot from CNN. We got this fun article. Twitter ban in Nigeria over deleting president's tweet condemned by the U.S. and the EU. So they say the U.S. and the European Union voiced concern over Nigeria's decision to indefinitely ban Twitter after the U.S. social media giant deleted a tweet from the president's account for violating its rules. Doesn't it sound familiar, ladies and gentlemen? International human rights groups have also condemned the move, which followed previous attempts by the government of Africa's most populous country to regulate social media. Nigerian telecoms operators complied with the government directive Friday to suspend access to Twitter indefinitely. The diplomatic missions of the EU, US, Britain, Canada, and Ireland issued a joint statement late Saturday condemning the ban. Banning systems of expression is not the answer, it said. Precisely the moment when Nigeria needs to foster inclusive dialogue and expression of opinions. Yeah, as well as share vital information in this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. The path to a more secure Nigeria lies in more, not less communication, it added. More than 39 million Nigerians have a Twitter account, according to NOI polls, public opinion, blah, blah, blah. The platform played an important role in public discourse in the country with hashtags, hashtag bring back our girls, after Boko Haram kidnapped 276 girls in 2014, which I'm sure did a lot of help, and hashtag end SARS during an anti-police brutality protest last year. What rang funny for me is that some of these quotes that in their statement is the path to a more secure Nigeria lies in more, not less communication, which means that Twitter has the exact opposite stance for every other country than the U.S., right? How many people has Twitter banned in the U.S.?
Too many.
Like millions of them, right?
I don't have a Twitter, but if I was on it, I'd probably be banned.
Yeah.
No, you'd be fine. Me, on the other hand, if I actually use Twitter for what,
you'd be like, this son of a bitch is more left than Gandhi. Fucking get him off this platform.
Manassas Doyle said, I hope I pronounced that right. I mean, no offense. I'm really bad with names. I mean, I'd give AOC my kidney if she asked, so I'm not shocked Help Abuela popped off. Lol. I would like to see the breakdown on it and see if anybody see like the aisle sides to which donated, because all the high profile tweets for the Tesla payment were definitely on the right.
Yeah, it was.
But anyways, back to Twitter. The fact that Twitter condemned this as a human rights violation to ban Twitter would mean that Twitter is committing a human rights violation anytime they ban an individual, right?
No. Here's the thing. When it happens in a different country, it's a human rights violation. When it happens in ours, it's political discourse.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Coming up with the good points. Oh, go GW.
Some of the other funny parts in this article where they're talking about misinformation. Those of us in the field for 30 months who went through Twitter, went through the war, will treat them in the language they understand, the president posted on Twitter. The presidency denied late on Saturday that Twitter's suspension was a response to the removal of the post. There's been a litany of problems with the social media platform in Nigeria, which happens to be a common sentiment among the U.S. as well, where misinformation and fake news spread through it and had real-world violent consequences, which is the reason that they banned Twitter. Twitter said it was, quote, deeply concerned by the blocking of Twitter in Nigeria. They said access to free and hashtag open internet is an essential human right in modern society. We'll work to restore all access to all those in Nigeria who rely on Twitter to communicate and connect with the world. Hashtag keep it on, the company said in the statement. So in theory, they're using a tweet to spread a message where their tweets don't go anywhere. Right? Like hashtag keep it on. Like nobody in Nigeria is going to see that, so it doesn't matter.
I have a serious question,
please,
guys.
And I'm sure you have a serious answer. Here it comes.
How many Nigerian princes are giving away $1 million on Twitter?
That's a very good question.
Is it 3 of them now? Or 4? 4?
I deal with. I used to deal in as Hickory says, my Muggle life. I used to deal with Nigerian princes all the time, and there's way more than 3.
They all went broke. They went broke in the early 2000s, GW.
Because they gave all the way money to people like you, G-Dubs.
Everything is locked up, and they need a certain amount of money to get it free, and they'll give me a percentage of it.
No, well, the problem is they, they had all these tweets, but they had no NTFs. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this shit, be diluted, but it happens.
What was the tweet? Does anyone know what the tweet was?
Yeah, he basically said, shit, what did he say? It was right here. So, yeah, right. Sorry. Pull that up. So, right there, he had said,
What do you say, Free Abuela?
Nope. He said, those of us in the fields for 30 months who went through the war will treat them in the language they understand. Which might have some crazy deep meaning in Nigeria, but that sounds like, I don't know, a
sounds like a Donald Trump conversation right there. It's like, look, I don't care what language you're supposed to be speaking. We're going to speak the language that they understand clearly. We're going to speak the language they speak. Doesn't matter if we don't speak it anymore. They're going to understand.
Which, speaking of which, considering denying internet access is a basic human right violation, I seem to remember this. Twitter permanently suspends President Donald Trump while he's still in fucking office.
Look, but you know what's crazy to me is, like, I have functioned fairly well in this world without Twitter. I remember the first time I got on Twitter and I was like, I opened up Twitter and there was nothing. There was zero content. And it's like, oh, you have to follow other people. And I was like, too much work. I'm done. I don't ever have to tweet or spend any more time on Twitter than I already have. This is boring. Never tweeted again. If I want the New York Times, yes, some people get the New York Times through Twitter. You know where I get the New York Times from? The New York Times. You know what I mean?
Go to their website.
I don't need Twitter to facilitate my exposure to information. You know what I mean?
Twitter is fucking stupid. And I agree with Collen completely. My first tweet was, "This is a complete and utter waste of time."
Never tweet it again.
Which is probably the truest statement ever said on Twitter. Although I will say that Jack Dorsey is trying to pull off a Matt Vita impression when I see him talk before Congress now. Like, have you guys seen that dude? He's got this big burly beard, and he looks like he's trying to do Gandalf.
You shall not pass.
Yeah, except with like no fucking energy. So it's like, you shall not pass.
That's so Vita. That's so Vita. No matter.
And
who the fuck is this me? How the fuck am I the guy? No energy on Congress.
But I wanted to move on to the second part of this Twitter story. Something a little more lighthearted and fun. Twitter suspends former Treasury Secretary official after he compared Brian Stelter to the Gimp from Pulp Fiction.
Oh.
Now,
comparison. Come on.
Which I had never put together myself until I saw this side-by-side photo that the Daily Caller was kind enough to put together for us. And, it really got the same eyes. I feel like we should probably send this photo over to Pierre's podcast, right? G-Dubs, The Kink, and see what they think about this one.
Oh, yeah, you get a whole lot of kink out of that.
Yeah, it's two people who, the guys who host that podcast, both Pierre and Miss Rebecca, would, I'd like to hear their opinions on, if he would make a good Gimp. Because I don't know. I just assume that being a mouthpiece for CNN, he would, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, because here's the thing.
Do I need to full screen you? I felt like this was like a full screen moment.
No.
Okay. I got excited. I was like, oh, G-Dub's going in.
No, here's the thing. He gets rammed in the ass. In Pulp Fiction, the Gimp started to fuck Ving Rhames' character. I can't remember. For the life of me, I'm forgetting.
Now look at Quentin Tarantino. You know.
Yeah. He starts fucking Ving Rhames. So there's no way Brian Seltzer has enough nutsack to actually fuck somebody in the ass. He, on the other hand, looks like he has been fucked in the ass. That's it.
Okay, that's fair. Matt,
Fuck
what do you
Brian
think?
Seltzer and his orchestra.
Would you rather hang out with Brian Stelter or the Gimp?
The Gimp.
They both scare me.
Yeah, but at least under the Gimp mask, you know, he's like a normal, kind human being.
What makes you think that?
Well, I mean, I can imagine compared to Stelter, who's just a shell of a human being.
Well, what about when he zips his face off? Like in every improv scene that's ever taken place. Like, I'm actually Walt Disney.
Oh.
Do you think he's a lizard person under there? Or that's what I'm really hoping. I'm hoping that we find out that like these people are lizard people.
He might be a lizard person, but we're gonna have to wait till next week's U.S. Weekly to find out.
Yeah. USA Today front page news on Saturday. Brian Stelter takes off the Gimp mask. Is actually a lizard person.
Actually, a lizard.
Oh, that sounds phenomenal.
Can we talk about the more hyper thing of saying "fuck improv"?
I agree, but I don't. Let's move on. Collen, Matt, how do you feel about that? Are you guys improv fans?
Nah.
I feel like we just cornered two actors, GW. It was like a drunk magician and a straight comic.
I'm wearing my soul costume from the People's Improv Kids.
This is me fist fucking improv right here. Right? I love it.
I love good improv, but there's not a lot of good improv. So I'll say that.
No, I didn't mean like watching. I meant
good
like
improv.
You participating.
I do.
You do enjoy it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I coach improv. I do improv.
I think it would be fun if I were with the right group, but that's never happened to me.
I would do a little zip, zap, zap. All right, zip.
Zap.
All right.
Which we all know is the crux of improv. It does not get any better than zip, zap, zap. That's when we're doing zip, zap, zap. We're at the top of our comedic ability.
It's all downhill after that.
Great improv, when it's done well, is euphoric and unlike probably anything else. Because unlike stand-up, like I love stand-up and I've always done stand-up. The reason I've done a lot of improv, but the reason like I don't attempt to make a career in improv is you have to be so fucking brilliant. These people are so much smarter than me. I was part of a Manhattan improv team, and we had to do one day a game where we all said bones in the human body, and we just went around and said the bones. And I was like, femur! And I was like, femur! I got no more bones. I don't know, finger bones, skull. I mean, fuck me, you know, and you got people and you're like, were you a doctor? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know every single bone in the human body? You know what
They're
I
out
mean?
there like C1, C2, T1, T2.
Lower lumbar 3, lower lumbar 4. Yeah, you know. But I think improv at its best is an incredibly exciting, fun experience. And unfortunately, like I've been saying, in Vermont, we've done some improv. We've had some improv at the shows. But the really like tight teams are people who spend a lot of time in it, and you really only see like great improv coming out of like New York, Chicago, Boston. Not to shit on the smaller like what we would call like the road scene, but like the strong improv acts, the second cities and stuff like that have cultivated the best talent. UCB, Pitt. These are where these guys come from. SNL. These are where these guys make these transitions into film and are fucking outrageously funny. Some of them do the stand-up scene, but most of them are coming from basically an improv point of view.
Okay.
Fuck it.
That's all I'm saying. Fuck improv.
Matt, we're not keeping you too late, right? I want to get that out before we move into the last one. You're good on time.
I've got an improv show at 9:30, but I'm good till then.
Matt, I love you. I'll say it.
You know what? Also, fuck Jazz and Coltrane and Duke Ellington and fucking hacks like Stan Getz. Fuck them.
GW, I used to run. So I actually started an improv, and I have I guess a love-hate relationship with it. But I used to run an improv show that I think even you could get behind. It was called the Intergalactic Improv Battle, and it was every Saturday night, once a month, at the People's Improv Theater. And I would get like 25 improvisers on a stage, and then basically I'd have the audience vote people off of the show, and I would decimate and fucking shit on them and make fun of everybody as they were getting voted off.
So it's like a roast improv?
It was roast improv, which goes against the exact ethos of improv. But
yeah, see, now you got my interest.
And I would dig something like that.
It made a lot of people cringe, but I loved it.
Speaking of things that